Our lesson today is talking about absorption and transmission of water and mineral salts in plants. All of us know that the plant is living organism and it make its own food. Okay? Now we will know the structure of plants. As we see here, plant consists of root system and shoot system. Root system consists of roots and root hair. These small branches here is called root hair. Okay? And the shoot system consists of leaves and stem. Okay? So, shoot system, the part that above the soil consists of stem and leaves and flowers. Root system, the part that inside the soil, as we see here, the part inside the soil consists of roots and root hair. Okay? So, we know that the plant, as we say, make its own food by photosynthesis process. We talked about photosynthesis process in last year, and we said that plant making their food by photosynthesis process. Okay? Green plants take the simple or raw minerals from the soil. Why? To make photosynthesis process. So, we take from the soil raw materials like what? Like water and salts or salt minerals. Okay. And take what also to make a photosynthesis process? As we said before, it takes carbon dioxide from the air. Okay? And take light energy. And number 3, take water and minerals from the soil. So, the plants take 3 things to make photosynthesis process. Number 1, carbon dioxide, and this is taken from the air. And light energy from the sun. And number 3, water and mineral salts from the soil. Okay? The green plants need amounts of elements. Like what? Elements like calcium, like phosphorus. These elements is necessary for plant life. So, when I ask you, give reason, green plants need very little amount of elements because these elements are necessary for plant life. These elements like calcium and phosphorus, it's very important for us also to grow. So plant like us, we take calcium to make our bones strong, right? So plants also need the elements like this to grow up. Like what? These elements here, like phosphorus, calcium, nitrogen, magnesium, and zinc. Okay? Water and minerals are transmitted from the soil to other parts of plant through 2 stages. Okay? Let's see this picture. We can see that from the root to the leaves, there is a tube. This tube is called stem. So, the water and minerals transmit or move from the roots in the soil to the leaves. Let's see this video.
The roots are well suited both morphologically and anatomically to absorb water and minerals from the soil.
We can see here,
Morphologically,
we can see here that the roots absorb water and minerals from the soil and transmit it to the leaves by stem. So, what's the function of the stem? is transmitting the minerals and water from the soil to leaves. Okay, let's continue. So we said the water and the minerals transmitted, and as we see, from the soil to the parts of plant like leaves or flowers through two stages. The first stage, the plant absorbs water and minerals from the soil through root hairs in the root system. In this picture, we can see in the root small branches, very small branches in the roots. It's called root hair, and root hair can absorb the water and salt mineral from the soil. Okay, stage number two, or the second stage, the transmission of water and mineral salts from the root to other parts. So, number one, the plant absorbs the mineral salts and water from the soil by what? Yes, by hair root. Okay, so it absorbs it, and stage number two, transmitting it from the soil to the other parts of plant, like what? Like these leaves, as we see, green leaves and the flowers. Okay, let's continue. And we see the structure of plant in the first, okay, and we see that it consists of two parts, root system and shoot system. And as we see in these pictures, that the root system is inside the soil, okay, and they include root and root hairs. What's the function of root hair? As we say that absorb the minerals, salt and water from the soil. And part number two, shoot system. And shoot system consists of stem, leaves and the flowers. And we say the function of the stem is transmitting the water and minerals from the root to the other parts of the plant. This is like a tube, a small tube. Okay? Here, the root system consists of root and root hair. Okay. Let's start study the root. Here the root. Okay. Here we study the root. The root consists of 4 layers. First layer is called epidermis layer. It is an external or first layer that has the root hair extended from its cells. Okay? Like what is epidermis? Epidermis layer, like we have an onion, okay, in our home, and when we cut it, the very thin layer that above the onion is like this. Epidermis is a thin layer and external layer that the root hair extends from its cells. Okay, let's see this picture. Like this, epidermis is the first layer that we can see, okay, and the external layer. Layer number two, it's called cortex layer. Cortex layer. It's the second layer. It follows the epidermis layer. So the first layer we see in the layers of root, okay, it's called epidermis layer. The second layer is cortex. As we see here, the first layer is called epidermis and its external layer. The second layer and its follow the epidermis is called cortex. And we have A third layer is called endoderms. Endoderms. It is the last row of cells in cortex layer. As we see here, we have here epidermis, first layer, and second layer cortex, and we can see the endoderms. And we called it row of cells because as we see here, it's cells follow another cell like this. So it's a row of cells and follow the cortex. So the first layer is called epidermis and its external layer, and the second layer called cortex and follow the epidermis. And we have a third layer, it's called endoderm. Endoderm follows the cortex and it consists of row of cells. Okay, the layer number 4, the function of endoderm regulate passing of water to the xylem. Okay, the layer number 4 is called xylem. It follows the cortex layer and consists of wood tissue. Like this in this picture, we have xylem here. As you see, the xylem is the 4th layer. Okay? Okay, as we said, xylem is follow the cortex layer and it consists of wood tissue. The last layer we have is called base layer. It is the last layer that follows the xylem. So we have 4 layers in root. The first layer is called epidermis. The second layer is called cortex. And the third layer is called endoderm and xylem, and we have last layer is called base layer. Okay? So, what is the function of root hairs? As we said, it extends from the root. It's small hairs extend from the root. Okay? Especially from the cells of the epidermis. As we said here, the root, okay, consists of layers. And we say the first layer in the root is epidermis. So the hair is branching or extend from the first layer in the root. And we say the first layer is epidermis. So when I say the root hair extended from the root, especially from the cells of the epidermis. Okay, number 2, they lined from inside with thin layer of cytoplasm, and it helped in absorption of water and mineral salts, as we see